Hi guys, Charlotte from Not Shabby by Charlotte here, and I'm putting together a little video just to show you how to make a beautiful homemade wall hanging. I hope you enjoy it as much as I love painting. It's got me through some really difficult times. It's always something positive and fun to do, and you know what, sometimes it doesn't work out how you expect first time, but that's kind of arts and crafts for you. There's no right or wrong answer. Just have fun, and then you've got something beautiful to look at and enjoy that you've made yourselves. So welcome to my little painting world. Thanks for joining me. So let me walk you through what's in the kit and what we're going to use each item for. So first of all, you've got a piece of A4 ply. I've been too lazy, I've not drilled the holes in mine, but you will have 2 holes in yours, which will be what you're going to tie your piece of ribbon through so you can hang it on your wall. So first things first, and then each of you will have a stencil. I'm sorry, I couldn't get 12 of the same design, so we had to mix and match a little bit, so you've all got slightly different ones. But the one I'm going to be using today is All Good Things Are Wild and Free. So you've got a stencil. We have got 2 little pots of paint in 2 colours, your base colour and the colour that we're going to be doing a really cool effect on top with to bring out the detail. We have got a fresco powder, which is, don't actually know what it's made of. It's like a texturising powder that we're going to mix some paint with, and that's how we're going to make a really cool raised stencil. So rather than the stencil just being flat paint, we're going to spread it through to make like a paste, and it's going to create texture and be raised. So I'll show you how that all works. And then we've got a little bit of glaze, which we're going to tint with our Renfrew blue paint, and that is what I'm going to be showing you the effect on top of the raised stencil to bring out all the little details with. You have got a couple of brushes. Yours are cleaner than mine, yours are new. I've been using mine for weeks, so they're a bit rubbery. You've got a little spatula, which is for spreading your fresco paste to make your raised stencil. And you've got a little sponge to wipe your glaze back and create the texture that I'm going to show you at the end. So you've got my card, you've got my number. Anyone, feel free to call me to chat, to ask questions about projects, to ask questions about this project, to ask questions or discuss other projects. If you love it and you want to know more, we've got Facebook groups you can join, you can private message me, you can call me, whatever you want. I'm including my contact card in there, so you can, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you need, I'm here. Anyone that wants to talk to me about paint projects is my new best friend. I'm on board with that. I'll talk about it all day, all night, so you're not putting me out. Call me anytime. So should we get started? So first things first, we're going to put down a base colour to make this not just wood. So I always give my paint a little bit of a shake because you never know how long it's been sat around separating. So first things first, give it a little bit of a shake, take your lid off, get your paintbrush. And literally, the paint will go miles. You'll have loads of that left. You can paint something else with it if you want afterwards. So literally, let's get a base coat down. You'll get the smoothest finish if you pick a direction, and it's normally in the direction of the grain, so you can see how the pattern of the grain goes in that direction. You'll get the smoothest finished if you do that. So just paint away. Oh, it's so therapeutic. Normally when I'm not chatting away whilst I'm doing this, I've got a cup of tea, maybe a biscuit, got the radio on, I might be singing along or listening to a podcast or something. I've been listening on BBC Radio Sounds to Scarlett Moffat and her boyfriend, I can't remember his name, Chris maybe. They've been talking about paranormal, and she believes everything and he believes nothing, and they try to convince each other. It's so funny. So I listen to nonsense like that while I'm painting. Have a bit of a sing-song if I'm on my own. Nobody wants to hear me singing. So that only happens when I'm in the studio on my own. I don't know if you can hear barking in the background. There's a dog in the room next door. Got a little hair. This shouldn't be a particularly messy project, but I'm a messy painter. I get it on my hands and things, so maybe don't wear your better clothes and put down a cloth on your surface or something. So there you go, we've got a base coat. Now ordinarily you might want a couple of coats of paint. It's completely up to you how well you feel like it's covered. We're going to be doing a texture on top, so it's not going to be completely visible. If you were painting a piece of furniture or something, you'd want to put down a couple of coats definitely. But because we're going to be putting a glaze on top, it's going to be textured anyway, so I don't think it really matters in this instance. It's completely your choice. So I'm going to pop that to one side to dry whilst we mix our fresco. This is the fun bit. So take your little pot of fresco powder, that's the little powder, and what we're going to do is pour in our paint. There's no, like I said before, there's no right or wrong answer, just pour a bit in and with your spatula mix it up. The spatulas that I bought, some of them are straight like this and some of them have got like a little elbow on them, a bit like a little trowel. It does the same thing, you'll have different ones. So just carefully mix it up. You see I'm making a mess already. Maybe these pots are a bit small, lesson learnt. If you want to pour it out and mix it in another container, that's absolutely fine. Just think I need a bit more paint in there. You know what? We're learning together. I would pour most of your paint in. And mix it up. It doesn't have to be perfectly, it'll all of a sudden start to go. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. What we're looking for here is texture. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at what I'm doing. Don't mean to be rude. So that is loads and loads of fresco. So yeah, we're looking for texture, so you can mix it as smooth or as lumpy as you like. I like it quite lumpy. Sort of like, so it'll look like, can you see, when you mix it together, it goes a bit oatmeal-y. Looks a bit like oatmeal. I'm such a grubby, messy person. I love stuff like this. It's so much fun. Okay, so how dry is our paint? You can take your time over this on, obviously, but as soon as you don't want to watch me sitting watching paint dry, I'm just going to blast it with a hairdryer. So we've now got a dry painted ground. Now we're going to take a stencil. So you'll notice that your stencil comes in two parts. You've got your border and you've got your quote in the middle. So this is because some people might like to, if you were doing a normal stencil, they might like them to be different colours, so they might want to do their words in one colour and their border in a different colour. We're just going to pop them together and do it together. Oh no, we can't actually, don't worry about that. We can't pop it together and do it together because it won't go through. I'm so silly. Okay, so let's start with the border. So we're going to pop the border. This is where you want to be mindful. I haven't got the holes in my board, but be mindful of which way up it's going. So look at which is the top of your stencil and make sure that is near the holes, so when you hang it, your words are the right way around. So we're going to pop that on there. Can you see how it's just popped on? Lay it flat and just secure it with a couple of fingers. And this is where it gets fun, where we're going to start spreading. So you're literally going to, I hope you can see on the camera what I'm doing. We're literally going to just spread it over the stencil. And honestly, you can't get this wrong. Try and not let your stencil move, but if your stencil does move a bit, it's not the end of the world. There's so much fresco in there. If you make a mistake, take your stencil off, scrape it all back, wipe it all back, and have another go. So we're just going to spread it through. Can you see? I'm trying to hold it up to show you what I'm doing. Can you see how I'm just spreading this fresco through the stencil? Doesn't show up great on camera, does it? It's all very cream. So just go around. So what we're doing here is just transferring the pattern through the stencil onto the board. Doesn't have to be really smooth, doesn't have to be really neat, because the paint effect that we put on top of it, texture is its best friend. It's going to love it. Well, you know, if you have another piece of board, there's going to be, you can probably swap and share stencils with each other and stencil other things, because there's going to be loads of fresco left. Doesn't look like much in the pot, but there's loads of it. Ta-da! Oh, missed a bit there. Make sure you get it through all of your stencil. Have a look around. So there, look, we've spread the fresco all the way over the stencil. And then, see if I can do this on the camera without making a mess. Take the corner of your stencil. Do the big reveal. Ta-da! Oh, that's so cool. Now, it's all the same colour at the moment. But I mean, you could have done that in a different colour if you wanted to. This is just what I've chose to do today. But that's all in the same colour at the moment, just so it is creating texture. So I'm going to pop that to one side, and then you can just leave that to dry, or I am impatient and I want to show you the next step, so I'm going to hairdry it dry. And if you leave it to dry naturally, it will be smoother. If you dry it with the hairdryer, the heat will force dry it and will make it crack a little bit, which I personally think is a pretty cool sort of vintagey texture. So. Let me see if I can show you on the camera, see if I can get close enough. Can you see how it's drying? Let me find some cracks in it. You see that it will create little cracks as it dries. Now, I've just decided to go off piste. I am going to do the words in a slightly darker fresco, just to show you how it works. So take a little bit of your Renfrew blue, and can you see how much I'm pouring in? Just, boop, that's plenty. Tiny little drip like that. And let's mix that up now to make this blue. So you might be able to see, depends how brave you are, you might paint along with me, or you might sit and watch the video through all the way before you start. So I've mixed it up, and so now we've made our fresco powder blue. Okay, so now we're going to do our second piece of stencil. So I'm going to line it up. Oh, got too close to the camera so you can't see. Okay, so I'm going to turn my stencil around, line it up, remembering to be careful of the way your words are, which way round your words are, so that your holes are at the top for hanging it. Line it up. Hi guys, sorry I paused the camera there, I pressed the wrong button. So yeah, so we're going to line the stencil up on top, so you can see that now it says all good things are wild and free. And now that is all lined up, I'm going to take my blue fresco and do exactly the same as we did for the first layer, but this time we're doing it in blue. So make sure to get through all of your little holes. It doesn't even matter if I can tell here as I'm doing this that I haven't particularly mixed my colour in well, so it's going to get like a cool marbled effect. It's not going to be an even shade of blue the whole way over. That is not a problem. Need a little more. It goes miles, it goes so much further than you think it's going to be. You think you've not picked up much fresco, but it goes so far. Okay, so I think I've got it in each little hole. Just smooth it out a little bit, scrape off any excess. And then should we do the big reveal again together? Take the corner and peel it away. Oh, look at that, it's so beautiful. That's so cool. So if you look at that, all good things are wild and free, and you can see, because we've done it in a different colour, you can see the two different layers, how they're different. How beautiful is that? So yeah, that's a raised stencil. So I'm going to dry it and then we can move on to the glazing stage. Sorry about that, I had to stop the video, somebody popped into the room. So now I've dried it, you can see how beautiful it is. Can you see the texture? When I hold it sideways, you can see how it's a raised texture. Okay, so now we're going to mix the glaze. So let's pop all the bits aside. So in your second little pot of, with not too shabby on the top, that is clear glaze. So that's what we create textures with on the top. It comes clear, so you can mix it whatever colour you want, and on this occasion we're going to mix it in this run through blue. So literally you don't need a lot of paint at all. I would just dip your paintbrush in so it's coated like that, pop it in there, and that is plenty. Spin it around, scrape it. In hindsight, these jam jars are maybe a bit small for doing this. It's what I had, so I had a bit of an experiment, but there you go. So we've made the glaze, that run through blue colour, and then what we're going to do is, it doesn't matter how neat you are, because we're going to wipe it all back. We're literally just going to paint it over all of it. So depending on how much paint you put in will depend on how strong the colour is. So we'll do it sort of pale like this, and if you want a stronger colour, then we can absolutely do that. We can do a second layer to make it stronger. So what you're trying to do here is just get it real even coverage. So can you see there, that flower? You just want to make sure you get the glaze into all the crevices. So I'm going to get it on my fingers. So So we're just getting it in everywhere, because what's going to happen is when we wipe it back, it's going to remove it from the top layer, but it's all the little crevices, all the little nooks and crannies that it's going to get left behind, and so that's why it's important that the paint's all in there. We've got plenty on. See how that it goes miles. It's so such a thin product. That one little dunk has done it all. So you've got plenty left to play with if you want to experiment and do different things. You could do this, like I said before, you could share stencils with each other. You could do this on boxes, photo frames, whatever you fancy. So we've spread the glaze all over, and now we're going to take our sponge, clear a bit of space here, excuse me, a bit of space here so I can put it in the right place for you to see. And then we're just going to wipe back the excess like that. So you can see that we're just removing the excess, which is why we didn't want to use too much. We don't want to waste it. So you can either, if you wipe it, you'll see that it creates like little sort of streaks because it's sitting on the surface the direction you wipe it. So if you want it all nice and neat, you can wipe it in straight lines, or you could sort of sponge it off to get it sort of dimpled. Yeah, that looks kind of nice actually. That looks pretty cool. So just wipe it back to reveal what's underneath. And let me spin it around. There you are with your, how great it's coming up on the camera. Well, that's a good angle, it shows you how the glaze has just sat in amongst it all. So there you go, that is your homemade wall hanging. This is, so you would leave it to dry, and then where it's got the 2 holes, it's come with a little piece of ribbon. Just tie a piece of ribbon through the holes, and then you can hang it on the wall, hang it on your door, hang it wherever you fancy. Yeah, that was really sort of short, simple. I hope I explained everything well enough, and I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that one day you're a bit far for me to pop down and meet you. I'm up in the Midlands, and I understand that you guys are all down south, but you never know, one day we might meet. It was lovely doing this with you guys, and wish you lots of love, and hope everything goes well with you guys. Bye.